Hello, sunshines. Welcome to Pop of Color Live, a music industry late night show for colorful bands and artists. I'm your host, Clara, Charron, and basically what we do here is every Monday night we gather around and take the American late night talk show format, but instead of complaining about politics, we talk about the music industry and how it relates to independent bands and artists just like us. Just gonna move that. There we go. Let me know how the sound works out this time because this is the first time I have a microphone. So I would love to know if this is working. Okay, because I can't hear right now. I just hear myself in the room. Someone came on. Hello, hello, hello. So this is a very, very special episode because we're going to be doing some live bio reviews. It was this past week, 5 artists, some local, one band not have submitted their bios to me and volunteered as tributes to Louise is climbing everything. Volunteered as tributes to have their bios showcased/dissected by me. So I thought this would be a great learning experience for all of us because we know how important artists' bios are. So without further ado, let's get to the news of the week. I've got two pieces of news for Apple and 2 pieces of news for Spotify. Beginning with Apple, Apple Music has launched Apple Music for artists. One of the big complaints that Apple has had over the years of its existence via the iTunes Store and Apple as well is sure, artists can use a distribution partner such as DistroKid, CD Baby, Ditto, TuneCore, whatever, to get onto the iTunes Store or Apple Music. But once it's on there, you have no clue, you have no data on who your fans are. Sorry, you don't know where they are in the world, you don't know anything about them, but the bank statements you see from your distribution. That's why the newsletters have been so important, touted as so important in websites, even selling your digital downloads on your website as you can. Oh, hello, Spencer. This new format of Apple Music for artists means it's in beta testing right now, but this means that you'll be able to get that analytical and data access to know where your fans are when they look at your music and listen, stream, download, purchase your music online via an Apple product. So I have the link in the description of this video. I still don't know which side I should point to. Left or right? Let me know, please. I signed up earlier today. All it takes is an Apple ID. So even if you don't have an Apple Music account, if you've ever bought anything off the iTunes Store, have an iPhone, a MacBook, an iPad, the login info is what you'll need to sign in. Go lay claim on your artist name so they can verify that it's you so that you'll get access to this. Do that. It's in beta testing right now once again, but might as well go lay claim on your artist's name and your releases that are in the iTunes Store and on Apple Music. Second piece of information to do with Apple this week is they have launched a music publishing department. Yes, this came completely out of nowhere to me too. Ooh, but it's interesting because they're not signing songwriters and they're not looking to acquire catalogs. What they're trying to do is help songwriter-publisher relations in the streaming world within the music industry. Because artists have historically been big fans of Apple, not necessarily their products, but the company's image as a whole, and their values of the whole think differently, the honesty kind of going forward thinking, and that's something that a lot of artists have loved over the years. That's why they've lent their voices to campaigns, is either by appearing in ads or doing that U2 thing where they put all your music, their new album on your phone and then you have to figure out how to get it off. I'm still bitter about that, but whatever. So, second half of the news segment for this week is the Spotify stuff. So, as you might have been following, may it be from your own news sources or via this weekly show, Spotify has taken a stance and pulled music from R. Kelly as well as XXXTentacion from their curated playlists and recommended listening. The music was still on the platform, but people who really wanted to look for it, fans would have to dig for it and search it up themselves. It wouldn't come easily in the recommendations. It wouldn't be on hot playlists that lots of people would listen to. Their thought was they didn't want hate speech, they didn't want hateful content, they didn't want to encourage that. This editorial decision got them into a lot of hot water, namely for choosing sides on cases that hadn't been clearly put in court, such as, like, you know, for R. Kelly, the allegations as opposed to an actual sentencing, versus why these two artists, why not loads of others. There are many artists over the years who had run-ins with the law. Like, are we talking just violence against women? Does that mean Chris Brown should be taken off? Are we talking about any run in the law such as using drugs or getting arrested? Does that mean we're pulling all Justin Bieber's music off playlists? Whitney Houston? Like, where do we stop? That is something that I don't think they thought through very well. So as a result, they have backed down from the stance and they have put the music back into the playlists, apologized, well, shebang. It'll be interesting to see where they go forward from this, because Spotify, just like YouTube, can't claim that they are simply a platform where the music is if they're generating income, if they're generating subscribers and ad revenue from these curated playlists by their staff, from recommended algorithms that are designed to get you to listen longer by providing music you like. It's the same thing with YouTube. Very rarely do you go on YouTube just to watch and end up just watching the one video you came for. You usually are on there 3 hours until you're learning how to talk to a giraffe. But YouTube, for years, has been using pulling the card of, hey, we're just a platform that the users generate the content. We don't have any say in it, despite the fact that they know full well that their algorithm is working. They know full well how the ads work, and they want you to stay there as long as possible. So that's what they've been using to avoid paying content creators a fair amount. Now, it's like the way even less than streaming services do. But back to Spotify, that is kind of the thing. They know they can't do that, so they have to figure out where they draw the line. They can't be like, it's a free-for-all, it's the Wild West, anyone can post anything, because they're also encouraging, whether it be via their in-house creators being like, this is the hot music, where one of the songs on the list is someone who is sentenced to jail, or a classic artist who had horrible accusations against him throughout his career. Or they know they can't play the blank slate, but they also know that if they make too many of these editorial decisions, where do they draw the line? Is it their job to police people's private lives outside of the music itself? The music is the product. Are they just gonna go through the lyrics and search for hate speech and then just take it at that? So racist lyrics get downvoted and buried, but if the person themselves is a generally okay person, we go, or vice versa, a bad person but clean lyrics. That'll be interesting to see where they go forward with this, and it'll be really interesting. And I think in general, I find all this stuff fascinating. That's why I always say this is going to be really interesting. And last piece of news this week, this was an interesting article I read by Chris Rizzi of Hypebot. It's also linked in the description of this video. It's talking about how Spotify's payout system is killing more traditional adult-oriented genres such as blues, jazz, and classical music. So the whole thing kind of reads like one of those articles baby boomers write about millennials killing the diamond industry by buying too much avocado toast. But once you get past that, it actually makes some good points, and it's a really fun with math kind of breakdown, and it has a sensible argument if you follow through on the logic. So basically, how streaming services, such as Spotify, the biggest one, divvy up their revenue is every subscriber, or whether they pay their monthly subscription fee or from the ad revenue, it all gets pulled together, and then based on how many streams the song gets, they get a certain percentage of the pie. So it makes sense that pop artists whose music gets listened to more would get a bigger slice of the pie than obscure jazz artists. So what the author is arguing in this article is that in the olden days of album sales, no matter what genre of album you bought, whether it be from the blues section or the rap section, the artist got the same amount of money or the amount of points dedicated by the record contract. That's it. You're supporting them either way, and that's the way to do it. However, traditionally, long-standing, this is even true today, older listeners listen to less music than the kids these days. But they pay the same subscription amount. So what the author, Chris Rizzi, is complaining about in this article is that because the services divide their revenue by stream numbers, an older classical music fan who listens to less music than the kids these days ends up paying part of their subscription money to fund the career of a teeny bopper act solely because the kids are listening to it on repeat. They have no control of where the money goes. They can't support the artists in the same way by streaming their music and getting a Spotify subscription as they could when they just bought the CD at the HMV at the Radio Shack. Look, obviously, if you are a local band or you support them, buy the CDs when you go to their gigs. Go out. The cool bands aren't the ones who don't show up to other people's gigs. They're there in the front row cheering on and supporting their local scene. Say it one more time for the people in the back. Support your local scene, guys. But yeah, what do you think of that? I think it's really interesting going forward. I wonder if they're going to change how they split it, because we know that not all streams are created equal, whether it be by the Billboard ranking or by the simple fact that some people pay full price for subscriptions, some people are on free trials, others are doing the ad-supported freemium, and some are just pirating, listening off YouTube, or have ad block on. So I'm going to leave it at that for the news of this week. Moving on to the part you guys have been waiting for, the dissections and showcasing. So this week, something I really, really wanted to do was figure out how to put a graphic over my head like those American late night talk shows. Unfortunately, it took 5 hours of downloading before the internet crashed and I lost everything today. So we're going to be going into that going forward. I do have a microphone now, so we are getting professional and beautiful and totally pro in here, and I'm super excited about that. But yes, this is how it's going to go. Hello. One thing I'm going to be doing is I want to be able to comment the actual bio text into the comments of this video as I go, because I think that would really help for taking a look at the flow. It doesn't appear to be working, but I will comment after so you can take a look, because lots of people watch the reruns, but I will be reading them out loud off my phone as well. As well as linking the Facebook page of the act that I am referencing. And of course, every one of the 5 bands who volunteered so bravely to let me present and showcase their artist bio will get my notes in written form emailed back to them by tomorrow. So thank you very much, everyone who was willing to do this. It's so nice of you. So I'm going to start with a local band called Josephine Leon. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Groovy grunge rockers Josephine Leon have been tearing up the stages of their Ottawa hometown since 2015. They have since performed at venues and festivals across Ontario and Quebec. This summer, they will have the pleasure of sharing stage with Canadian rock icons Trooper, Biff Naked, Kim Mitchell, and Loverboy. Pulling influences from bands like Sublime, Nirvana, and Red Hot Chili Peppers, Josephine Leon's sound is best described as scrunge rock. Gritty, soulful vocals, swampy funk grooves, and heavy fuzz riffs. Scrunge! Their first release, a self-titled EP, produced and recorded entirely by the band members, came out in 2016. The Josephine Leon EP earned plays on Live 88.5 FM, as well as rotation on campus stations CKCU and CHUO with their singles Wash My Blues, Give It All, and Got a Demon. The band's latest single, a live off-the-floor recording of Never Satisfied, accompanied by a self-produced video, is the first taste of the highly anticipated full-length set to release in the fall of 2018. So now they list their band members and what instruments they play. So that is the bio for Josephine Leon. So I want to quickly point out that this is what I would like to call a dual bio. So it appeals to both the industry folk and the fans. I will be telling everyone for all the bios who they are appealing to, because that's an important distinction to make when you are writing a bio or having one written for you. So here's a really good thing they're doing. The digestible flow makes reading easy. So I was trying to do that to show the paragraphs to the people who are watching live right now. I will plug the bio in the comments when the video ends live, because I don't seem to be able to comment tonight while the live video is going. But they break the paragraphs up into the bio up into little chunk paragraphs. So like popcorn, you can't have just one. It's easy to just have another until you can flow down. You're not seeing an entire pillar of text and you're going, okay, no, that's too much for me, and your eyes glaze over right away. So, what's up? Okay, so another good thing they're doing is the phrases like self-produced video and recorded entirely by the band members show that they have a strong collaborative ethic, but because they're listing the individual members at the end, it also gives them a chance to shine individually, unlike some bands where the front person, the lead singer, is the star of the show and that's it, like say Maroon 5. It's the Adam Levine show, and I can't name you any of the other four. They could just be CGI at this point. I don't know. That was a joke. Okay. One downside, one critique of their bio would be their highly anticipated full-length album set. Okay, every artist says their next release is highly anticipated. Find a way to prove it, either with awesome quotes or some hard concrete numbers that you can showcase, because everyone says their album is highly anticipated when it's upcoming. But what separates that bragging from being a concrete, real fact? And the last part, which is really awesome, is the last part of the first paragraph, which is, this summer they will have the pleasure of sharing the stage with iconic bands. And their last article, which is about their last paragraph, which is about their upcoming release, show what the band is up to now, which lots of artists forget to do sometimes. And the one at the top is great because it's for people who are in a rush and are quickly skimming. So yes, this is the band, this is where they're from, this is what they sound like, this is what they're doing this summer. Great. And then for the people who are reading the full 3-4 paragraphs, it shows that their story is unfinished. They're not tying up all the loose ends like they're writing a fairy tale. There's more to follow. There's a reason to keep following. So that's really awesome. Josephine Leon, thank you so much for volunteering. And I will put your bio and your Facebook page in the description of this video as soon as I sign off. So next up, we've got Kimberly Sundstrom. She is a solo singer-songwriter. I've got diverse genres and people here. So that's really awesome. I just wanted to show like lots of styles, those duos, full bands, solo artists, everything. Okay, so Afro-Canadian singer-songwriter Kimberly Sundstrom's sound is a reflection of her her culturally diverse family background and musical upbringing. She grew up listening to old-time country music, South African pop hits, American folk, and classic R&B, blending powerful vocal ability, heartfelt lyricism, and skillful instrumental compositions. Sundstrom's performances are energetic and accessible while still conveying an intimate and soulful connection to the listener. So this is a fan bio. It's written for the fans. So this is it's not something that she would show to industry people, convincing them to fund her, but it is something that she could easily use to convince people to come out to see her perform. So, good thing. The list of influences is captivating and fascinating. Old-time country music, South African pop hits, American folk and classic R&B. She's not listing 20 genres or 30 influences like she's trying to rank up keyword searches. She's naming the things that influenced her from very young. They're different, but you can kind of visualize what they sound like. You can imagine what they sound like, and that sounds amazing to me. I definitely would want to check that out because you can kind of auditorily visualize what that would sound like, which is a great description of her sound without necessarily naming other acts. So while this is a great little blurb for festival brochures, another place where fan bios go when they're little one-paragraph things. So come see Kimberly at such and such festival, and then in the multi-page brochure, would be the little blurb about her. If the eventual goal should be to write a longer, more detailed version for the industry folk. So this would include accomplishments, venues played, media quotes, more concrete details and dates and names. And so that would be an eventual goal. Of course, you want to write to the fans first, because these are the first people to support you. There's no sense going after to try to impress managers or labels if you don't have anyone listening to you to start with. And last but not least, the flow and choice of adjectives is really pretty but doesn't sound cliche. That is an awesome feat to accomplish. Thank you, Kimberly. I really appreciate you letting me do this. I will link your bio, comment your bio and your Facebook page link in the comments of this video after I sign off. Next band is the Meow, which already won me over because that's an awesome name. Infused with soul and smothered in sass, the Meow has wasted no time in making their mark on Ottawa's indie music scene since their 2015 debut. Radio broadcaster Alan Cross coined their first single, Evening Blues, as sultry coolness. A year later, Le Meow released their debut studio album. In its first week, York Street charted on college radio and landed the band showcases at some of Ottawa's premier music festivals. The quartet's hook-filled melodies entertained an enthusiastic crowd at the 2016 Ottawa Blues Fest, with the review adding that their performance immensely impressed. Their up-tempo, passion-fueled jam, That's My Man, recently earned them a trip to Tokyo to represent Canada at the Yamaha Music 2016 Asian Beat Competition. The band was thrilled to be awarded second prize for their performance by award-winning bassist and composer Nathan East. Lead singer Jin Bourgeois is described as having the perfect combination of smoothness and grit to her voice, which is superbly complemented by the funky bass grooves of James Rook. The common law couple co-wrote the music for their Factor-funded album and recorded it at Johnny Hall Productions with producer Eric Eggleston. I'm just gonna take a sip of water. I'm drinking water, not tea, because it's summer. I can't believe this. Oh, by the way, quick story about this mug. I won it at a senior citizens home. They were having a trivia competition where they played Elvis songs on shuffle, and you have to guess the name of them. I know 2 Elvis songs, and I still won. I beat them at their own game, and I still feel guilty about this, but it's an awesome mug, and I really wanted it. So, Le Meow. This would be an industry bio. You can tell by that they're dropping names. They're mentioning industry terminology, such as charting on college radio, Factor, and Canadian funding organization, this kind of stuff. This is clearly meant for the industry folk as opposed to casual fans. So here is one, start with an awesome thing they're doing. The name, okay, halfway kidding. Okay, infused with soul and smothered in sass. Did you catch the alliteration with the letter S? Fused in soul, smothered in sass. Now that is an excellent way to hook in a reader who's reading bio after bio all day. That one makes it stand out. So say a talent buyer, they're going through all the festival applications, and it's like 4 p.m. They're getting tired of this, and you have a great opening hook line. Brilliant, good job. Other awesome thing, and because this is an industry bio, the clear references to events such as Ottawa Blues Fest, Yamaha Music 2016 Asian Beat Competition, and organizations such as Factor show that they are a serious force in the industry and they sound like they know what they are doing. Really good if you're writing an industry bio to sound like you know what you are doing. Okay, so here's something they could improve upon. Some of the clearly important people's names that they're being referenced aren't quite famous enough to stand on their own. So while many local industry people might know exactly who they are and what else they've done, perhaps adding a few other important projects after brackets would aid Meow in repurposing much of this bio's content for media pitches in the future, because that's something I've done as a music publicist, is you want to make the connections. So if this producer also worked on this other band, well-known band or artist, this album, put that in brackets so they can contextualize the name. Because right now something they've done is the last sentence of this bio ends with recorded at Johnny Hall Productions with producer Eric Eggleston. Eggleston is the last word of this bio. Eggleston. Like, not to make fun of his last name, but I'm sure there is a better way they could end that puts the focus on Meow, on the band. Describing one's sound, which they do, is great, but Meow go the extra step by describing their audience's reaction. Don't tell me a club's booking agent would snub their nose at entertained and enthusiastic crowd at 2016 Blues Fest. Yes. If you proved it, your music can be good, but if the crowd loves it, great, especially for industry bio. You're already confirming. It's great for fan bio too, like already confirming that other people like the music, and they're going to have a good time either by showing up, or they're going to make their money back by other people showing up because this band puts on a great show. And last but not least is a little something they need to update. The last reference they give time-wise is summer 2016, which would be Ottawa Blues Fest. Has the band done nothing else since then? We don't know. Is it possible to add a last paragraph teasing what they're up to next, what they've been up to since? Just anything that shows that they haven't just disappeared since Ottawa Blues Fest 2016. Next up is thank you, Meow. Oh, thank you very much. Okay, so next up is a new band. So this is a little bit different because they're two accomplished singer-songwriters, and they've joined forces as a duo with backing instrumentalists. It's Lighting Matches from Grand Rapids, Michigan. But it's interesting how they write this one, which I want you to take a look at, because their band hasn't done much yet, as in they've played some gigs, but they haven't recorded anything. So they really need to take what they've done as solo artists to be able to put it together into a package to sell the new duo. Lighting Matches. Lighting Matches is a folk rock band based in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Fronted by duo Rachel White and Matt Plessner, they are well known for their skilled songwriting and combustive harmonies, which add a very engaging and captive element to their music. Both released solo albums in 2016, Rachel's debut album Destination Sunday, and Matt's fifth album Forest Blue, and both were nominated for multiple 2017 Jammy Awards. Backed by Eric Locke on drums and Adam Parada on keyboards and bass, they plan to release an album as Lighting Matches in 2018. So, all one paragraph, but it's short, it's sweet. So this is an industry bio, which I personally find is an odd choice because they haven't done much in the industry yet as the band. And so one of my recommendations would be to put it into a fan bio. I'll get back to that later. So let's start with something good, because I like to start and end on positives if I can. The phrase combustive harmonies. Adding imagery that relates to your band's name and brand is a smart way to be remembered. This band is called Lighting Matches. Their logo has fire in it. Combustive harmonies. Brilliant. Okay. Bad thing. The paragraph is dense looking. You'll see it when I comment it when I throw it in the comments after I sign off. But it would be easier to skim if they managed to just break it up into something little chunks that are more palatable than this big hunking paragraph, just from a perspective of someone who wants to skim it quickly when looking over festival applications or while doing multitasking, doing other things. Okay, another thing. They're well known for their skilled songwriting and combustive harmonies, which add a very engaging and captivating element to their music. Same thing as with Josephine Leon. Back up this statement. Well known for their skilled songwriting. Do you have a quote? Do you have stats? If backing it up will make you sound so much more legit and make you very much more impressive than that. Then right now, I don't mean to sound harsh. I'm just trying to phrasing it wrong because this is live and I only got one take, but you know what I mean, Rachel. You know what I mean, Matt. I'm back to it. A suggestion I mentioned at the beginning, but consider rewriting this as a fan-focused bio. You could try to capture the musical personality and charisma to entice fans to come see you play. The fan base is always the first group of people you want to aim to impress before the industry crowd. And last but not least, it's great that you guys are making it clear that you're a newly formed band, but all are serious artists that have a goal in place and previous accomplishments. So that is really, really well done on that part. So yes, thank you, Lighting Matches. And last but not least is a local folk artist named Spencer Scarf. He's folk blues. I'm gonna quickly give a little disclaimer. Parts of the skeleton of this bio I wrote a long time ago, like early 2016. This was before I even started Pop of Color. Like this is way back. So I'm not being harsh on Spencer. If I point out anything or criticize anything, I'm being harsh on 2 years ago me, because 2 years ago me was an idiot. Let's be real. Okay, so Spencer Scarf. You know the blues, it makes me feel all right, sing the rich and smooth tenor vocals of Ottawa-based Spencer Scarf. His versatile folk and blues sound can be heard on a variety of musical instruments: 6-string, 8-string, and 12-string guitars, a resonator, cigar box, banjo, mandolin, ukulele, piano keyboards, and hard-driving harmonica. Spencer's ability to read the crowd get him invited back to many venues and private events, as he chooses melodic and intricate instrumentals, belting blues, or anything in between. His combination of technical skill and onstage charisma has led him to being called a prodigy and an absolute genius by AJ Sauvé, RBC Blues Fest Director of Media Relations. While the folk and blues multi-instrumentalist has more than 400 cover songs in his repertoire, it was his third album, I Can't Hide, 2014, that began Spencer's road as a songwriter. Currently in the studio recording material for his fourth album to be released in spring 2017, he regularly performs at a variety of events and venues, including festivals, pubs, children's events, art shows, community and private events, such as Ottawa's Blues Fest, City Folk, Folk Fest, and many City of Ottawa events. He's the organist for the Carleton University Ravens men's hockey team and has been featured on CTV Morning Live, Rogers Daytime TV, CBC, and CKCU Radio. One of the most gifted young musicians in Ottawa is Spencer Scarf. He's a multi-instrumentalist who dabbles in blues, folk rock, and indie rock. He's also a rarity, a finger plucker on the guitar. Let Scarf teach you a lesson in fine music, says Ben Young, The Review. To book Spencer, send him a message. Please visit the contact page. Okay, so this is clearly an industry bio. You can see it right there. There you can tell. So with naming things, with mentioning people in the industry, he's clearly someone who's aiming at venue booking, at agents, at talent buyers, that kind of thing. So let's start with something awesome. super easy, inviting popcorn paragraphs. I'm going to call them popcorn paragraphs because you can't have just one. They're really easy. Just move on to the next one. I will show you when I paste it into the comments. Here is a downside. Okay, so reread these passages. No, wait, sorry. This is downside. Yeah. It was his third album, I Can't Hide, from 2014, that began Spencer's road as a songwriter. Okay, so then the story flow cuts off right after that sentence, and it jumps into a paragraph about back to like his CV and the long list of accomplishments. As opposed to doing that, that would have been a perfect moment. Style influences creative inspiration for aspects of his music before going back to the long list of accomplishments. And so that would have been a perfect place to do that. It feels like it wasn't, it's a quick mention that he also writes songs, but it doesn't feel like more than that. And really, and I feel like that got nipped in the bud too soon. An awesome part here is reread these passages. So I'm going to do it right here. Spencer's ability to read the crowd get him invited back to many venues and private events as he chooses melodic and instrumental belting blues or anything in between, or the phrases regularly performs at a variety of events and venues, names a bunch of places, and the folk and blues music multi-instrumentalist has more than 400 cover songs in his repertoire. Okay, so you notice how descriptive and factual that's written to be? This makes it so easy for venue owners and talent buyers, booking agents, etc., who are under a lot of stress, immediately read something that resembles their event or the style they're looking for, immediately slot Spencer in and have a eureka moment. They found that he is providing the solution to their booking problem. They're going to book him right away. Here is something that needs to be updated. Currently in the studio recording material for his fourth album to be released in spring 2017. Spencer, it's summer 2018. What are you doing and planning now? Oh, that needs some updating. Okay. And last but not least, for the good things with his bio, is the call to action at the end, where it invites you for interest in booking or to go to the contact page. Call to action at the end of the bio. So many artists, they either tie up their loose ends of the story or tease a very vague, very, very far off upcoming release, leaving potential fan, talent buyers, and industry folk to twiddle their thumbs waiting for them, or more likely just forget about them in the meantime. By adding a call to action, Spencer transforms his bio from a resume into a sales pitch. And I think that is a very smart thing. If you don't have necessarily a booking because you've got fans all over the world, you could try linking to your social media or a countdown date for an announcement, that kind of thing. So I think that was stroke of brilliance on that part. So yes, those were my bio reviews. This has been such an awesome episode. How is the sound, by the way? I got a microphone. I'm gonna spend the rest of my night cleaning up the lights and eating these strawberries. Look at the size of these strawberries, by the way. Like, any bigger and I would have to grow them like outside a nuclear power plant. Anyway, have an excellent week. Be good to each other. Stay colorful. Stay lovely, sunshines. I will see you next Monday. We have a very, very special guest coming on. I'm so excited. I'm going to be splitting the screen because he's in the States and here I am in Canada. Be excellent to each other. You will see in the description of this video that I have links to the articles and other references that I think you guys would really appreciate. Please fund my tea habit, by the way. But yes. I do also write bios as a side gig, freelance-wise. So if you want yours reviewed in more depth, or want me to write a new one, hit me up. I also have my email, other social media links. That would be awesome. See you next week. Oh, don't forget, sign up for Apple Music for Artists. It's launching the beta. Sign up, claim your name to make sure that they know that you're the one who controls your artistic presence and your artistic account on Apple Music and the iTunes Store so that you can get the analytics. That will be very important going forward. I have the link in there. Super easy to do, especially if you already have an iPhone and a MacBook and iPad, and you've ever bought anything off the iTunes Store or the App Store. Have a great week. I'm off for real. See you, lovelies. Oh, and I need to put the bios in the comments.